I'd like to begin by explaining some of the differences between this Andara volcanic glass that I discovered as a Paleolithic medium for the manufacture of Paleolithic story stone face and mammoth effigies versus Obsidian volcanic glass. So let's start with number one. Number one, the this Andara, quote unquote, Andara volcanic glass does not devitrify. I have hundreds of samples of these effigies from around the world, from Indonesia, which is a big producer of these volcanic glass effigies, as is Mount Shasta, California. I also have them from the Finder in Arizona, and they also come from China, where they're currently being mined in lava flows. And this glass does not devitrify. There's no devitrification on any of the samples at all. Now, when you look at obsidian, you see that sheen. That's the crystalline structure of obsidian. And when it dries out and gets old and gets exposed to the elements for a long, long period of time, after it's been flaked like this, over 12,000 years ago, then we find that many samples are devitrified. So obsidian is heavily devitrified in this particular mammoth effigy. What we have is a mammoth here with its trunk coming down here, and this has all been chipped away to image the trunk of the mammoth. And it's a paleo story stone effigy. The face is pretty cool too. It's a pretty mean looking face, big eye and the mouth down here facing off to the right. See that shimmer? That's devitrification. That's the side that was exposed to the elements, and this side is the natural volcanic glass that will no doubt have some etching signs to it, where they etched this glass like they did Andara volcanic glass. So obsidian is oftentimes found heavily etched. This is a mammoth now facing off to the right with its hair tuft above the head. So devitrification is a major difference between obsidian volcanic glass and Andara volcanic glass. Another major difference is the color. The color of Andara volcanic glass is all the colors of the rainbow. But with obsidian, we normally find it either black or gray. Sometimes it comes in a reddish-brown rust color, and we call that mahogany obsidian. And then we also see rainbow obsidian, or also known as fire obsidian, which is black obsidian or grayish obsidian that has basically a shimmer to it of different colors of the rainbow, such as green and maybe blue and maybe red, that is included into the stone. It's a more inclusion type of refraction in the stone, and the stone is typically still black or gray in color. It just has the extra colors that are included in the rainbow obsidian. Not like this glass at all. First of all, this glass is always transparent, or almost always. It's transparent. Well, obsidian is not. Obsidian is opaque or translucent or semi-translucent. Sometimes it approaches transparent in samples of obsidian that are clear or maybe smoky gray. There might be some transparency, but generally speaking, Andara volcanic glass is transparent and obsidian is not. So volcanic glass, Andara volcanic glass, comes in many different colors, and obsidian is pretty well restricted to just a few colors that are, and then the rainbow material is basically just inclusions and light refraction of elements in the glass that make it shine in a colorful manner. Another major difference between the two is that this Andara volcanic glass has absolutely no hydrogen and no oxygen. So it has no water in it whatsoever. Whereas your obsidian, we can test for the water content based on the obsidian hydration dating technique testing. So we know obsidian has water in it because it's measurable, and it's one of the few stones that can be accurately dated by the obsidian hydration process. So major difference there. Water is found in obsidian and not found in the Andara volcanic glass. Andara volcanic glass has bubbles in it, very similar to the naturally occurring Libyan desert glass, which is a tektite, and those bubbles are I'm sure, in the glass, the natural glass, due to rapid cooling. Excuse me, rapid cooling. And Libyan desert glass has bubbles, and that comes to the surface a lot with holes and things. And obsidian doesn't have any bubbles at all. There's no bubbles in obsidian. I've never seen bubbles in obsidian ever. And then we also have, last but not least, the X-ray fluorescence testing of this material was done at the University of Stephen Austin, Texas, a very famous research university in Texas, and their geology department. Rick Shaw, a geologist friend of mine, and his professor in the geology department tested 3 samples that I gave them. I gave them a transparent yellow one, a transparent blue, and a transparent green one, and they all were found to be naturally occurring glass, naturally occurring volcanic glass. There is no sodium in this glass at all. The elements that are in this glass are very, very unusual and interesting. And Dr. Michael Gramley has the official printout. Now, the official printout does tell you what percentage of the elements are in the glass, and it also talks about LOD, limit of detection, terms that a lot of people may not be familiar with unless they've had some science background. But this chart is easily recognizable where I've circled the elements that are included in the glass. Now, Dr. Michael Gramley has also run X-ray fluorescence testing on this glass through a very reputable laboratory, and they have also confirmed that, yes, it is naturally occurring glass. So that's been confirmed by Dr. Gramley to me in writing, and so we know that this is naturally occurring glass. And the people that have sold this and dealt with it in the past, they didn't do any scientific testing. They just assumed it was slag glass or modern glass, which was a big mistake. They should have done their homework on it, and they should have done some scientific testing, because it's really all about science. And then, of course, when you do the X-ray fluorescence testing, it must be done by a major institution, a major learning institution in a proper geology lab setting, because it's very important to sanitize these pieces before you perform the X-ray fluorescence testing. They have to be completely sterilized, and I mean completely sterilized. So that's where the portable XRF machines don't quite get the job done. They have a lot of erroneous type of data sometimes due to contamination of the sample. So again, I just wanted to point out some major differences between the Andara volcanic glass and the Obsidian volcanic glass. By the way, I've got to share this. This is the eye of the mammoth with the big hair tuft above the head, a big sweeping trunk coming down here. It's beautifully done. We got a great human face with the eye, the nose, and the mouth chipped away along the profile. That's what they did. They carved the edges of the perimeter to make the imagery using natural inclusions such as bubbles as eyes and sometimes mouths. A great mammoth there. Another great mammoth off to the left there. Now look at that patina on this piece. I did wash it. I did wash this with dishwasher soap and hot water, and it brings out the patina. Greg Perino taught me that. Mr. Gregory Perino, one of the finest authenticators ever lived, taught me to wash these specimens as soon as you receive them to make sure they're authentic, because once you wash them, then the patina will pop at you on the surfaces here. This is also a very iridescent. It's hard to see it in this light, but in the sunlight, the surfaces have a lot of opalescence and iridescence on it. Now we have that mammoth facing right, the eye here, the trunk down here. And We have another great mammoth now with this the eye and the big hair tuft above the head. That's the baby mammoth facing left. Just an outstanding. This is from Mount Shasta. This is a Clovis biface. Look at the etching on this side for the hair on top of the head there of the mammoth, the back of the mammoth. Oh my God, look at the face. The bubble is the eye, the nose, and the mouth. Just an outstanding Mount Shasta Lady Nellie Clovis biface, beautifully flaked, Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigy.